Hey there, good evening and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. This is a show that's dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So here we are on our Wednesday night favorites. And today we're doing my top 25 Canadian bands, my favorite top 25 Canadian bands. So for those of you who haven't been here and seen this before, basically I just do a top 25 list of bands that I like in order that I like them. I start from the bottom, work my way to the top. So my least favorite of them to my most favorite, and then I'll do some honorable mentions after. And for those of you who may want to contest it, that's fine. Just remember, these are just my favorites. Doesn't mean that they're the best Canadian bands of all time. They're just the ones that I like, that I listen to. You may have completely different lists, and that would be great. That would be fine if you did, because it should be that way, because you're not me, right? So anyways, we'll some of these I have props for. Some of these bands I had albums and cassettes for, don't have them anymore and haven't replaced them, but still like the bands. But I do have, for the most part, for the top 10 or so, I do have albums for. Some of the ones in between, maybe a little. Some of them I do, some of them I don't. Some of the bands have come on lately. They're new bands to me, or not necessarily new bands, but bands I've gotten into more. And some of them just bands that I once was into, don't listen to much anymore. And then, of course, some honorable mentions too. So it's not as strong a list as the American one or the British one, obviously, but it does possess some really strong ones at the top. Okay, so we'll start out with my least favorite, or my 25th band, which is the Headpins. This is a band that I liked quite a bit in the time period that they came out in, around the late 70s, early 80s. I listened to them quite a bit then. A couple of songs I really liked by them quite a bit. So they come in at 25. Number 24 is a band that they used to play a lot at the gym maybe 10 or 15 years ago where I used to live. And they were kind of new to me. I didn't hear them before. I didn't actually even know they were Canadian until recently, and that's Fingers 11. The next band is a band that gets here on the strength of several songs, The Flyer being the main one. Yeah, that one's the main song. Sorry. There's a couple of others that I really like by them as well, but overall I wasn't. They should have been a bigger band for me, but they just never kind of mastered that. And I'm talking about Saga. Number 22 is a forerunner band to one of my favorite bands. And this band is kind of a transitionary band from the Guess Who to BTO, and they're called Braveheart. They put out a couple albums. They didn't do very well with them. But the album that came out, that was supposed to come out as Braveheart 3, Brave Belt 3, ended up being the first BTO album. Sorry. Anyway, so Brave Belt comes in at 22. The next one up is Honeymoon Suite with their You Got a New Girl Now. That was the big one for me. I like that song a lot. So Honeymoon Suite at 21st. Number 20, Bare Naked Ladies, probably one of the more well-known Canadian bands now from the 80s. Some of their stuff I like. They're kind of a quirky band, and I kind of like them. They feel very Canadian to me. Number 19 was a band I saw in concert with the bands on there's 3 bands on the list. They were on the list along with Metallica, who at that time had only just the one album, and Ronnie James Dio. This band is Anvil, like them a lot too. Number 18, a punk band, or if you want, a kind of rockabilly punk band, which I've dealt with a few times on this channel, and they're called Teenage Head. Some really strong stuff. This has 2 of their albums on it. Frantic City, and what was the name of the other one? I never remember the name of the other one. Oh, some home kind of fun. Yeah, great albums, both of them. Okay, the next one up, Canadian icon, folk singer, lots of albums by her. I've listened to quite a few of them. Her name's Joni Mitchell. Yeah, number 17. Number 16 is a band that I've long known about, but only just in the last year or so I've been listening to their stuff quite a bit, and I like this stuff. They're definitely a band that's destined to make my top 10, and that's the Klaatu. Number 15 is a band that has one of the big hits, Born to Be Wild, and has some other stuff too. I do actually have an album by them, and I just remembered that I did, but just give me a second to see if I can find it. I did get one recently. I just forgot where I put it. It should be. Let's see if I put it alphabetically here. And look at that, I did. And that's Steppenwolf. This is a good album here. This one. It's a collection of their hits, and they got quite a few. Quite a few more songs than you would think. Obviously, they've got Born to Be Wild. The Hoochie Coochie Man, I remember that one. The Pusher, yep. Yeah, some good stuff on this album. It's a pretty rockin' album too, you know. I saw it somewhere, and even though it's a collection, I thought, you know what, I don't have any Steppenwolf, and I need to get some, so I took the album. Anyway, Steppenwolf at number 15. Number 14, a Canadian Toronto-based band called Gatto, from Greg Gotovich as the main guy. I like their stuff. It's kind of heavy, a little bit heavy, maybe a little heavier than power pop, but definitely in that genre there. Number 13 is Prism with their Spaceship Superstar. Yeah, I always like Prism. You have Chilliwack, which they have several songs that I kind of like. They range anywhere from kind of mellow pop up to a little bit heavier pop. Also, they're from the West Coast, from British Columbia, obviously from Chilliwack, right? Okay, so the next band coming in at number 11 is a band that I didn't even know anything about. Well, I'd heard of them. I actually heard a track when they first came out, and I just, for some reason, I never pursued them, and I should have. Anyways, I've got 4 of their albums now, and I've been listening to them fairly extensively. They've moved right up here, and they will probably go much higher, and that's the Tea Party. I love them. I love these guys. Their Indian sound and stuff. It's just fantastic. Number 10 is a band I liked a lot in my youth. Specifically, actually, I should have showed you forget what I was doing. This is Chilliwack here. This is the greatest hits as well. And the Tea Party. And now Max Webster. This is Million Vacations. Really great album. You know, if you don't know anything about Max Webster or never heard of him, this is the album to listen to. This will get you introduced to them very well. Lots of good tracks on this album. A Million Vacations, fantastic. Paradise Skies, love that song. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff. They did the song Battle Scar too, which isn't on this album, but that's the one they did with Rush. Okay, the next the next band up is the Stampeders. I don't have anything from them, but this is a band I've gotten into quite a bit over the last year or so. They've got some real catchy, poppy kind of heavy pop type songs. Yeah, just fantastic stuff. Number 8 was a band I liked a lot when I was young. I still like some of that late 60s, 70s stuff, and that's the Guess Who. Of course, American Woman, probably one of their most famous tracks. No Sugar Tonight, No Time, all kinds of different stuff like that. Really great band. Next band up is actually a solo artist, and we're talking about Kim Mitchell. He goes very well with these guys. Anyways, this is Shaken Like a Human Being album, which is really good. Lots of good stuff on this album. Patio Lanterns is on here. Yeah. In My Shoes is good. City Girl, yeah, really, this is a good album. Next up, coming in at number 6, I did have an album for him, but can't seem to find it, and that's Trooper. Yeah, they got Raise a Little Hell, Two for the Show, General Hand Grenade, it goes on. Yeah, lots of good stuff by them. Number 5, April Wine, Harder, Faster, Oh What a Night, all those great hits by them. This album here is fairly new to me, so it'll be one that I'll probably listen to in upcoming days. Then a band, for some reason I forgot to put them in I put them in the list, and then I didn't add them to the zone, so I had to reschedule everything. I said, where did these guys go? And of course, we're talking about Triumph, and this is my most recent repurchase. This band has about 4 or 5 really solid albums. In fact, my second favorite album of all time is Just a Game, which I just love that album. This one is also really good. There's a couple others, Progressions of Power, Rock and Roll Machine. Yeah, it just goes on and on. Yeah, solid rock band, coming in at number 4. Number 3, probably my first ever favorite band, and a band I have a lot of their stuff and still enjoy them a lot. And the recent passing of their drummer. Why is it always the drummer that dies first? I don't get it. Anyways, this is Bachman Turner Overdrive, and this is BTO2, this particular one, which has Let It Ride and Taking Care of Business are the 2 big hits on here. But there's some other, like Blow It is really good. I can't see with my glasses, but this is a really solid album. This is with the 3 Bachman brothers and C.F. Turner. Okay, so number 2, the top 3 the top 4 are very strong. Triumph and BTO not too far apart. A little bit more of a distance to this guy, Neil Young, one of my favorite musicians. Definitely number 2 on my list. And of course, number 1 was never going to be anybody other than Rush. I chose Caress of Steel, one of my favorite albums. Yeah, they've been my favorite Canadian band and my favorite band. And it's not really close. They just pretty much blow everybody away. I love them. So there you have it. Those are my top 25 Canadian bands. And so I'm just going to reiterate them too. So we got... Get them over here in my lap. We got Rush at number 1, Neil Young at number 2, Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO at number 3, Triumph at number 4, April Wine at number 5, Trooper at number 6, don't have a prop for that one, Kim Mitchell at number 7, at number 8 is the Guess Who. I do not have a prop for that. Or number 9, the Stampeders. Number 10, Max Webster. Number 11, the Tea Party. Number 12, Chilliwack. Number 13 is Prism. Don't have a prop for that. Or number 14, Gatto. Number 15, Steppenwolf. Number 16 is the Klaatu. It's hard to find these guys, but they're so good. Anyways, they're coming in number 16, the Klaatu. Number 17 is Joni Mitchell. I almost bought a box set by her recently and decided to spend the money somewhere else, but very good. And the next up is Teenage Head, number 17. Anvil is number 18. Bare Naked Ladies are number 19. Anvil's number 19. The Bare Naked Ladies are number 20. Honeymoon Suite 21, Brave Belt 22, Saga is 23, Fingers 11, and number 24, and the Head Pins at number 25. Now, some of the honorable mentions are bands like Martha and the Muffins, Echo Beach, Blue Rodeo, another decent band. I've had albums by Blue Rodeo. I just don't listen to them as much as I used to. Bryan Adams, of course, everybody knows his stuff. Toronto, which was a band in the late 70s, early 80s. Rough Trade, of course, in that same time period. Burton Cummings, of course, the lead singer of the Guess Who, went solo, had some great stuff solo-wise as well. Cummings and Bachman, when they got back together, couldn't use the Guess Who name, so they toured by themselves. And then the same thing with Bachman and Turner. They toured as Bachman Turner Unlimited and then Bachman Turner, because they couldn't also not get the BTO name. Randy Bachman has a hard time getting names, I guess. And Sweeney Todd, another kind of heavier band that came out in the same period around the 80s. And then, of course, the last one never had a record label, but they toured across Canada and the States and the Caribbean. That's my cousin and her band, Now Voyager, which no longer exists. And if you look up Now Voyager on the internet, you'll find another band called that, but it's not them. Her name was Rosemary Walton, and they did mostly Heart and Benatar covers, but they did do some other stuff as well. Pretty solid band. I did have a picture of them somewhere, but God knows where it is. Anyway, so there you have it. My top 25 Canadian bands, my top 25 favorite Canadian bands, and I'm sure you all have your top 25 Canadian favorite bands, or maybe some of these will be new for you and you'll check them out. There's a lot of, we've got a fairly strong collection of music here in Canada. There's lots of other bands too that have come out in recent years that I haven't gotten into yet, but some of them I will, for certain. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. We'll be back next Wednesday with another top 25. And until then, you have a good evening and take care. Bye.